I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
All right, guys, welcome back. Oops Podcast. Giulio Gallerati, joined as ever by Ryan, is very muscular. Lynch.
Thank you.
Looking very nice.
Thank you.
Your haircut's looking good. You are ready.
Thank you.
You're ready to take fall by the horns. We have a very special guest joining us today. Very funny stand-up comedian who's appeared many times on Comedy Central. Height unknown, weight unknown, age unknown. Hanna Dickinson, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I have been really chuckling to myself thinking about introducing you like that all morning. So
Wait, did you hear about It Ends With Us? About the director?
Oh, so, okay. Can you tell me?
Director, no. I heard
I thought
about
it was the
Blake
actor,
stuff.
the director. I don't know anything about this. Can you please fill us in so that we have some context?
Okay, well, apparently the director, Justin Baldoni,
Is he not the actor?
he's the actor
As well.
And he bought the rights to the book because he loved the book so much.
Heard it's a good book.
I've heard it's a great book.
Controversial, but good.
Yes. And then Blake Lively got cast. She got brought on as a producer, and then she wanted to change the edit and the ending.
And she insisted that they do, and they did, right?
Yeah, and they did.
Okay, see, I know something about this stuff, but I still don't get the full circle thing. I don't want you to think that I was pretending I know when I know.
Well, then I heard this other thing that he asked, because he picks her up in one of the scenes, he asked her how much she weighed because he was worried he was going to throw his back out.
I understand. I have a pinch nerve, C6, C7.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
like,
looking good.
if a girl was like, okay, I weigh 150, you're like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I think I'd be able to eyeball her.
Yeah, right? You'd be able to look at someone and be like, I don't know if I can do this. You wouldn't be like, what's your exact weight? Oh, I'm only in the 160 range. Like,
Are people angry about this?
I think that was part of that came out, and it was like, damn, that's like a really insane question to ask someone, to be like, I don't know if I can pick you up. How much do you weigh?
Agreed. That's absurd. Like, I'm fairly sure I could look it might be weird if I have to like look you up and down quickly to see if I decide I can lift you, but there's never going to be a number where I'm like, oh my God, what? I thought I could lift you previously and now I no longer do.
Yeah. I also think either lift her or don't, and maybe just throw your back out. Like, maybe take the risk.
How old is this guy?
I think he's in his 40s.
Is he a little guy?
No, he's a big guy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Blake Lively just had her 4th child, and I will say she is beautiful. She looks great. She's in great shape, but I think because I'm so used to her in Gossip Girl being this rail thin person, she's not rail thin.
Oh, she's like a woman now.
Yeah, she's a woman now.
Bless
But she
her
looks
heart.
great. I mean,
Fun fact, I was in an episode of Gossip Girl.
You were?
With her. And I'm trying to think what other people I was in the scene with, like Leighton Meester, with like pretty much everybody. I know.
What were you doing?
Nothing. I was basically an extra, but I insisted on positioning myself directly in the shot. And it was a big scene. It was like a gala. You maybe even remember the episode. How familiar are you with Gossip Girl?
Is it where they had, isn't it one of the first episodes?
I don't know. But what I remember is that at some point, it's called Juliet Doesn't Live Here Anymore is the name of the episode. And at one point, I think Leighton Meester drops a flash drive in a champagne glass to like destroy incriminating evidence about one of the main cast. But anyway, I'm very prominently featured in all these scenes. So
Season 4, episode 8.
There you go. Gallerati in the background.
Wouldn't you say, though, out of any circumstance, the best time, or not the best time, but the not the worst time to ask somebody how much they weigh is in a technical role, like setting up a scene?
Agreed. It's not that bad on its own.
I just from looking up her weight, the headlines to all the articles is fat shaming. I think that's a little extreme.
That's preposterous to call it fat shaming.
Yeah.
It seems he was being scientific about it.
I also think it's crazy to call it fat shaming because Blake Lively is not fat. So it's like,
let's check her out. How's she
she's
looking?
not.
She weighs
anywhere
129 pounds.
She weighs 129?
According to this
bullshit.
fifth party website.
No way.
I'm saying $165.
Regardless,
she's tall. She's a big girl.
There's no way she's 129.
I feel like if you're an actor like Blake, who's very experienced, like Duh, there's no emotion attached to that question. I feel like you should be able to say yes or no to that and
Also-
understand that it's not like you're looking pudgy today. It's like I don't want to break my back out. It's a pretty solid alibi.
This is a side note, but I once tried to Google what was going on with Lizzo, and the first question that came up was, how much does Lizzo weigh on Google? And I think it said like 220. So I think Google like fully lies. There's no way Lizzo
Wait, you
was
think Lizzo
200.
weighs more than that?
Yeah.
Is she tall though? Like if she's short, 220 is packing.
She's 5'10".
Okay. You think no way? I think they lie about height too, even in sports. And I get why you would lie in sports, because if I'm playing you in tennis and I think you're 5'11" when you're actually 5'9", somehow that like
Fucks you up.
not fucks me up, but it gives you a little bit, it makes you less unintimidating if I think you're bigger than you are
Interesting.
or something.
I was thinking about starting to lie about my age.
So that's why I didn't out you. I think I have an idea roughly of how old you are. Don't do it here
I won't.
because
I'm going to start
we don't need
lying.
a paper trail. I've met men who lie in the industry.
About their age
Yeah, it's
and
really weird.
their height and weight and stuff.
Not height and weight. Well, height and weight, I mean, bro, look, if you're a fucking fat ass and you tell me you're 160 pounds, I know you're way more than that. You know what I mean? But your age, you theoretically can get away with as long as it's not like an offensive lie. If you can get away with 5 years here and there, I just don't get the reason why you would as a man. No offense. The industry is just sort of de facto very sexist. So if you're a woman who's older, we all know that maybe is a potentially difficult thing.
Yeah.
Those are the facts. But as a man, there's this trope that the man ages gracefully and it's so unfair, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
How many years are they shaving?
I don't know. Sometimes I've had people refuse to answer.
Oh, actually, I met a comic who refused to answer.
It's weird as fuck, dude.
That kills the vibe. Isn't there, I was filling out my profile on Backstage for just like acting gigs and stuff. And then there's some sort of, you guys would probably know this. It's like your screen age, and it's like ages that you're able to play.
Right.
I'm assuming based off of
Yeah.
how you look.
Yes, that's
So would you say that would be a fair, whatever your age, whatever your screen age is, that's a fair amount of time to shave off or tack on?
I think people are worried still the way that they would be. It's like, I'm 5'9", but maybe if you think I'm 5'11", that will somehow help me. I think that there are people who think that even though they can play a certain age, by somehow knowing the actual age, that puts them at a disadvantage, even though it may or may not be true.
I think that is true. Because I think,
Tell me more.
well, because I think the industry is kind of stupid, right? Like, people who work in the industry, they don't really know anything until...
Right. So it's easy to sort of like, okay, this pool of people are who we're going to look at because there's so many people. So therefore, women in their 30s, we're not even going to look at them.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, they are this age, and so
Therefore, right.
Or it's hard to see someone as a screen age because if you really know their age.
Right. That's true. Okay, wait. I want to go back to this Justin Baldoni thing, which, by the way, don't even know who that is. Is he like a thing, or is this like a newer guy?
I
or-
didn't know who he was, but he has over 3 million followers on Instagram.
He's
So-
40. He's 6'2".
Nice.
His wife's name is Emily.
So what else did he do wrong besides that? I heard everyone unfollowed him.
Everyone unfollowed him. He's doing press alone. I guess he's just kind of a dick.
Didn't he kiss her a little too long? Wasn't that another side story that came out of the movie?
Oh, was it?
I think so.
This is good marketing
I
if
didn't
that's
look-
what they're trying to do.
I didn't look too into it, but
I
there were
feel like
tons
it's-
of stories besides just the big one that I thought you were going to open up with was the interview with the Australian woman that said congratulations on your bump.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like 3 or 4 things around this movie.
What bump? Her bump?
So
She's pregnant?
because of this movie and Blake's reputation now of being kind of rude, there's some things that have come out about her.
Interesting.
People were digging, or somebody was waiting for this opportunity to post an interview from 2016 when she was promoting some other movie. She was pregnant at the time. The interviewer said, as they were opening up the interview, hey, congratulations on your bump, or like, your bump looks really nice. And then Blake took offense to that and immediately responded with, your bump is really nice. And then we find out later on that interviewer is infertile and she was not pregnant ever.
And Blake was currently pregnant when they said the bump thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Blake continued to just like chit chat with her co-star and kind of ignore the interviewer.
Interesting.
And so that was a big thing that came out recently that I'm seeing all over.
This is
Pet
a
peeve
side
for
note,
Blake.
but my friend's dad is like a contractor, and he did her and Ryan Reynolds' house,
Nice.
and he said they are the dumbest people he's ever met.
What?
Yeah, specifically Blake Lively's like the dumbest person he's ever met.
Oh my God.
But I'm like, they can't be that dumb. Ryan Reynolds sold a company for $1 billion. He can't be that dumb.
I never ever believe a personal anecdote about somebody's personality who I've never met myself. Because the entire time people are hanging out with the person, they are waiting to have some juicy hot take on their personality. They're looking for it. And perhaps he mistook her aloofness for stupidity when in reality she was just like, go build the shelf, dude. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah, all that to say, maybe she's not an asshole. Maybe she's just stupid, you know? Maybe she's not reading the room correctly. But yeah, the bum thing was weird. They also started pulling interviews where she was calling transgender people trannies. But that was, again, from 2012 maybe, which I know it doesn't make it okay, but like people were throwing the T word around a lot back then.
Yeah, no, there's definitely more vocab these days than there used to be, perhaps, at least colloquially speaking.
It's a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt on
Yeah,
her.
it
She's
really
she's the
is.
current target. Everyone's
The bump
honing in
thing
on
isn't
them.
great though, because it's like, all right, her saying you're a bump and the person couldn't have kids, like that's not the problem to me. I guess the problem, if there is a problem, is the fact that she got so annoyed at the question when she's literally pregnant.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's the weird part.
And
like,
she totally didn't know that she was infertile when she said
and
that.
it doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her just taking that so weirdly is so aggressive. Like you're there for an interview. Like if someone's annoying me, I'll be annoyed. But if the camera's on and you ask me some fucking thing that I hate, like how's the comedy thing going? I'd be like, it's good. I wouldn't be like, haha, the comedy thing, like I would to some fucking random guy I'm at dinner with.
Exactly.
Get it together, lady. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I saw the movie. I went and
How
saw
is
the
it?
movie. I was sitting front row. So I don't know if the movie was dog shit or if I was just so uncomfortable the whole time.
Because
when
you were
your
looking
head
straight
is
out?
yeah, it didn't recline all the way.
Why'd you sit in the front row?
Because it was sold out except for the front row.
Wow.
So my cousin wanted to see it. So I was like, all right, let's go see it. And the whole time my neck was like this. And I was like, it's hard to watch a movie like that. So I was waiting for it to be over.
Was it a big theater?
It was Alamo Drafthouse, so it wasn't huge. But on a Monday night, that's pretty crazy.
Damn.
I think the press is working.
There you go. But look, if the guy's like doing press by himself, like nobody, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's this brilliant director, but like it seems as if nobody wants the negative press to be about themselves specifically for the film to then do well. It doesn't seem like he would be willing to take that L, or anybody would.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody hates you. Like nobody wants that.
That's what my roommate and I were talking about. It's like maybe the press was, it's definitely working, I think, but they're both throwing it back at each other in a way that feels very petty, that doesn't feel calculated by a PR person. Like it's like she's getting heat, so then she throws out the weight thing. And the kiss too long. I didn't even know about the kiss.
So this is good for her then. She's having sort of a resurgence in the public eye through all this drama.
I didn't know she needed a resurgence.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as people, there's always some person that everyone says is annoying. Anne Hathaway was before.
Yeah.
Which, not fair to me. I never found her annoying, at least from her acting and stuff. I always thought she was a babe too. Also two great things for everyone. And I like that rom-com that she was in recently. I don't know if
You like that one?
I liked it, yeah.
Did you see A Family Affair with Zac Efron?
Yes.
I did not.
Yeah.
I am a Zac Efron ride or die.
Lynch
Me
loves
too.
him
If I was, I would. I love him.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
he's the man.
He's the best. He's so hot. Even with the jaw, I'm like, I don't care. I'll take him.
He also acknowledged in the movie what actually happened to him in real life with his jaw. He said he fucked up his jaw, but he said in the movie it was kind of like a breaking the fourth wall.
Oh. I didn't
I don't know.
even
I'm only
that.
just obsessed with the guy. But
I'm
he's,
obsessed with him too.
I'm a
Yeah,
fan
I
of
love
him
him
as well.
So he's 5'8", and just because I was looking up that first movie, they were showing the heights to similar searches. So he's 5'8", Nicole Kidman was 5'11", and they were the two partners in the movie.
Got it.
It's a cute one. It's a cute one.
Yeah, it's similar to the Anne Hathaway.
Got a cougar situation.
Yeah.
I have hugged Zac Efron, by the way.
Damn it.
I know.
God.
It felt good. Those traps were bursting out of his t-shirt.
Why did you hug him?
I did a show one night and he was in the show. He was at the show. I think because Gerard Carmichael was also on the show and they had just done Neighbors together. So he brought some of the cast. Zac Efron was there. I was the first person who noticed Zac Efron in the crowd. I think we were not supposed to talk about him, but I did. I busted his balls. We embraced after the show and it was nice. And that was it. Then he rode off into the sunset.
Oh my God.
Did you hear him laugh?
I know.
So jealous.
Oh, he was like, bro, that was awesome. I was like, oh, bro, you're awesome. And then we held each other.
So I know you've met a handful of people, but can you remember, like when you went in for the embrace, like what he smelled like? For everyone at
I think
home.
he smelled good. I just remember
fruit?
him being insanely jacked. He was so muscular, and he was he just seemed like a chill bro. And then I watched his unscripted show, that Down to Earth show, which I thought he was wonderful in. I thought he was really compelling to watch. He made this. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
It's on Netflix. He basically just like goes and learns about environmental shit. He's with this kind of like weird older dude who, in my opinion, kind of kills the vibe, who's like really into the environment and is like his boy or something. Or maybe he's like some shaman or some bullshit. But anyway, Z fucking Efron travels around learning about water and sustainability and whatever, but it's great. And he seems just like a genuine chill fucking dude.
Yeah, he does seem
I'd like to be boys with him.
like a nice guy.
I would like to be boys with him.
Yeah. My friend worked on Neighbors as like a PA and she said he remembered everyone's name,
That's sick.
which is just so
Meanwhile, you got Brad Pitt, who says that he has some sort of disease where like he forgets people's names and he uses that as an excuse.
I think I have that disease too.
I think I have
think
it
I
too.
do too, dude.
But
I
we're
get
not Brad
so
Pitt.
anxious. I get so anxious when I don't remember someone's name, or even when I'm seeing someone and I'm like, I've met them 4 times. I know their name. I know their fucking name. But then as soon as they get to me, I'm like, what is their fucking name? And I'm like, I don't know. It's wrong.
As you get to know Hannah, you start to learn that she sort of wears her heart on her sleeve in this sort of like anti-hero way.
What do you mean?
Like if you have if something like happens in the room, like you sometimes can't help but to react and you can't like hide it. But you don't like, she doesn't go like, she just like does nothing and just starts to like internally panic.
What do you mean with?
And then it just slowly starts to make her make sense. Like when I'm able to sort of pinpoint a specific moment, there's one moment, we don't have to talk about it.
We can talk about it. I don't care.
Somebody who, we don't have to say who it is, but we can describe the moment if you want to. This is kind of funny and fun.
Well, I was talking to Hill Dog.
Yes.
And in a conversation, and a guy who I had told I had feelings for a year before, like fully was like, I like you and I think you like me because we've been hanging out. And I was like, I really like rom-com moment. It was raining, hard on the line.
You said it in person.
Said it in person. I picked him up from where he was in a cab and I was like, I think you know why I'm here. I was on a ton of shrooms, to be fair.
I love it.
But I was like,
love it.
I think I know, you know why I'm here. And he was like, I actually have no idea. And I was like, no, you do. And I was like, I like you and you like me. And he was like, no. And it was just one of those soul crushing moments where I was positive how it was going to go. And it went the other way. And I had not seen him since that night when I like really put my heart on the line.
Okay. And then he walks in.
And then he walks in when I'm mid conversation with Hill Dog. And anything she said after that, I literally had no idea what she was saying. Like, it was like the whole room went silent and a buzz started going off. I was like, oh my God, he's here. And I'm in front of these people and they know. And
and Hillary asked me, she's like, was Hannah okay? Like, and I was like, well, actually, it's funny you asked that. No. And then I described the situation and she went, oh. And I was like, yeah, it was like an intense moment. She's like, that's insane. I'm like, yeah. That's all of that is very rom-com-y, by the way.
yeah, it's
Like,
very,
very much so.
well, it's funny because with with anxiety, you're like, you freak out and then you're like, but no one noticed. No one probably noticed.
I sort of did not notice, but like it all made your personality make sense to me.
I can't not have a panic attack internally. Yeah. It's very, very scary. But
Did you and that guy ever hook up?
You know what's crazy? No, but he tried to kiss me one night.
Mm-hmm.
This was before I was like, oh no, like we were just started hanging out as like friends, and I was like, I feel like, what are you doing?
Why were you not interested in that at that moment?
Because I felt really confused about what it was, and then we started hanging out more, and I was like, oh, he's in love with me.
Were you guys fucked up like when he tried?
No.
Whoa. Crazy. Okay, and then
I think like
were
he
you
was
alone?
interested in. What do you mean?
Were you like sitting alone somewhere when that
When he
happened?
tried to kiss me, we were outside my apartment.
Okay. After having gone on a date.
I didn't know it was very confusing. We went to dinner and he paid.
Okay.
But that was like in the beginning. And then we started hanging out a lot more. We like went to a bathhouse together. We'd go to dinners together. We'd hang out a lot. But I think, you know, I don't know.
What happened? Like, so at what point does all that turn into you're getting the wrong impression from him? I'm not following that.
Yeah, so he tried to kiss me like early on, and I backed away, but we actually didn't even acknowledge it. It was kind of like I just backed away and like did one of these.
Okay.
And then when I was like, "You like me?" He's like, "I don't." I'm like, but you tried to kiss me," and he was like, "Wait, you knew?" And I was like, "Yes, I knew." Like, of course.
And then what did he say?
Sneaky.
And he was like, "Well, I wanted to like hook up with you, but I don't like you," which is fair. That's a guy thing.
That's pretty.
That's very honest.
Yeah, that's impressively honest. I don't know that I would have been able to pull that one out. I would have been like, I do like you. Well, I did, but now we've hung out so much, and now it's like kind of we're just like friends. Did he do that?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
What's the timeline here?
From
the kiss fail to the I don't like you.
The kiss fail was end of October.
Okay.
Beginning of October.
Okay.
And the I don't like you was end of December.
And then a year goes by, at least more, because it was a year and a half. And so after that moment, you never talked to him again.
No, we did. And then he like left me this voicemail that was like, I love you. I'm thinking of you. And I played it for my friend, and she was like, yeah, he definitely, like, I really want to see you. And I was like, wait, okay, I'm just confused. Are you trying to see me as a friend? Because like you said,
He said, I love you, or he's like, love you, miss you, like.
Yeah, thinking of you. But I think after someone has expressed his feelings for you, you kind of don't use the L word.
Fair.
In my opinion.
Agreed.
But
Just because you're being, not gentle isn't the word, you're being humane. It's fucked up, because now you know that this person feels that way, and establishing the boundary, if you care about them and you like them, you want to do that for them and for you. So it's not weird.
yeah.
Fuck, dude.
And then I was like, just to clarify, are you trying to see me as a friend? Like, I'm a little confused. And he was like, yes. And then we never spoke again.
Because you just were in too deep at that point.
I think I was in too deep. I think I liked him a lot. But
He's a charming guy. He seems like a good dude.
A very nice
I don't
guy.
know him that well, but I like him.
There's nothing bad to say about him. It was a misunderstanding, but it was like such a swing and a miss. But I don't regret it.
You got to swing for the fences, folks. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like the idea of being too scared to try, never trying is so much worse than getting rejected. Who fucking gives a shit if you get rejected?
And
lean in, go for the kiss.
I will say, someone saw us together and was like, he definitely likes you. I didn't even bring it up. And so I was like pretty certain that he liked me. But he didn't. And that's okay. And that's a testament to his charm, I think. His charisma.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I think it is. A lot of it is charisma, which is why I say charisma is a red flag, because you think someone likes you, but they're actually just fucking charming and they can charm a room. So you think you're special, but they can do it to everyone. Someone who has charisma can work a fucking room. And that's not a negative thing. I can truly say nothing negative about him, because it was just me misreading it. But don't like someone with charisma.
You have a friend tell you, hey, I think that he's into you. Like, I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
100 times out of 100 times.
Totally, dude.
It's tough.
Interesting. Yeah. So, because this is the thing, though. I think that does not specifically apply to this situation, and I'll tell you why. Because he literally sent mixed signals that are very tangible and clear. A kiss attempt, the constant solo hanging out. These are like, even one who is theoretically a charismatic guy, I think knows to make sure that it doesn't get blurry because you're used to people misreading your charisma in theory, I would think. So you're like, okay, is this person starting to think I like them? I need to put the kibosh on that immediately. As opposed to, oh, I'm going to try to kiss you, and then we're going to hang out alone for 2 months, and then when you tell me you like me, I'm going to act like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't see it that way.
That's why I have no idea how he sees it. So like seeing him was like, does he think I'm a psychopath? You know, because you feel kind of crazy. You're like, I built this story in my head. Yeah. So when you see them, you're like, oh God, I'm the crazy girl. I'm the crazy girl in the room. And then I thought he might be wanting to dodge me, but then he came over and said, oh my God, that's so crazy. I was just thinking about you today. That's what he said to me. And I was like,
that's the Rizz.
Yeah, the Rizz.
That's the
Jesus,
Rizz,
bro. The fucking Rizz.
And I was like, oh, you were? And
That's
like,
the Rizz. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, this guy's good.
he's good. He's so good.
He's
But
real good. Are you a person who misreads situations often?
here's the thing. I feel like I have guy friends and I don't.
I'm one of them.
Exactly. And I would never be like,
We have a very not weird relationship.
exactly. And you're not you're not the only one. Like I have other guy friends who,
Oh, I'm not. Okay.
sorry to let you down, but
One in particular, Danny motherfucking P.
Yeah.
Our boy.
I actually made a list of my guy friends after the incident because I wanted to prove to myself that I had them and I wasn't totally a fucking creep.
Who else is on there? Anybody else I know?
Do you know Chad Kroger, Tom Allen, Chad Goes Deep?
We had Chad on the pod one time.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Chad, Danny Palmer is
Danny
one.
Palmer. Fuck yeah.
Ari Manis. Do you know Ari Manis?
I know Ari.
Abby Roberge.
I know Abby. Good guys. Couple good LA folks.
Yeah. I'm like racking. I'm like, let me go to my list. Ryan.
Hey, there we go. I was hoping he would get in there. Lynchy poo.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I feel like I have guy friends, but then I'm like, maybe I don't know. But I think if you're charming and
You got to be charming responsibly out there, folks. Okay. So there's nice people who are looking for companionship. You're sending them the wrong signals, and then they got to sit here and complain about it for half an hour. So
yeah, I mean,
it's tough out there.
let's hope he doesn't listen to your podcast.
I don't
Like
know.
this
Yeah, I
bitch
doubt
can't
it.
let it go.
I doubt he does, but it's funny. I mean,
No.
it's my fault for bringing it up.
There's one thing I can't get over in this whole epic.
Yeah,
So-
you've been staring off into space for quite a bit.
So when he went in to kiss you
Mm-hmm.
and you just both kind of didn't acknowledge it, was it in a moment of like, what was the setting? What was going on when you tried to do it? Were you guys like looking into each other's eyes, or you guys?
Saying goodbye.
Okay.
And then I kind of dodged it and went in for a hug.
Was he opening his arms as well, or was he fully committing to this movement is kiss?
This movement is kiss.
I don't understand how that happens, and then you can move on and like not acknowledge that.
Well, when I brought it up, I don't think he knew. He thought I didn't know.
I don't know if he thought that. Maybe he's that smart.
Yeah.
I can see, okay, but this is the thing. I can kind of see like, yeah, we had fun. Yeah, no. No, that is crazy. You like keep the conversation you're having going to wait for the right moment to pause to go for it. You're like, yeah, no, I thought his first movie was better, but like there is an opportunity to move and then for her to just do all right, good to see you.
Yeah, that was exactly it. To be fair, I also had just had my lips done. So that was also why
You're
I
a little
was like,
sensitive.
I'm not going to, you can't kiss for 2 weeks after you get your lips done.
This is the Euro step of kissing, what she's done. You kind of pivot around and you get around the defender to score.
And it wasn't that awkward. Like, I will say it wasn't that
Yeah,
awkward.
no, I could see it not being that awkward.
And I was actually grateful that he Because he could have been like, I didn't try to kiss you. You know, he could have lied. But he was like,
this guy's fucking good. He's an ace. And he's also, you know, he's willing to sort of tell you about his challenges. He's like willing to be vulnerable, it seems, in conversation.
oh, totally.
He's a ringer. You know, it's about as good as it gets.
Any girl that I've told this story to, they're like, oh, him? Obviously.
That's a thing that other people have had happen.
Not the same experience, but just knowing him, they could see how I could fall for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what an opener. I was thinking of you today.
Yeah, it's good.
A year later. Damn.
Good. Yeah, that
My
kind of
friend goes, dude, my roommate goes, Hannah, you better fucking not read into that at all. You better just tuck that away and go to bed. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I'm obviously still thinking about that. I'm like, why are you thinking about me? You know?
You know what you could do, honestly? I think that a person like that, they like to try to like keep everything cool, right? They want to be in control of the situation. So they want to remain charming and able to make you feel good about yourself without, if you were to just like completely turn on him, I bet it would turn into you guys banging. Just saying. If you were to be like, no, I have nothing to say to you. Like you completely fucking like dragged me along and embarrassed me. And like, I deserve much better than that. Fuck you. He'd be like, and then before you know it, he'd be waiting on your doorstep in the rain, trying to make it up to you.
When you get out of the taxi and then
Correct.
he confesses his love to
You
you.
could definitely flip the script on him.
Yeah.
It's a long play, but you can do it.
I thought about texting him after because it was so awkward. And then I was like, no, Hannah,
He's got you.
Yeah, it's good that you didn't.
No.
It's good that you didn't.
no, got to play it cool.
You gotta play it cool.
And also, I'm like, what am I going to do? Fall for this again? How many times can
Yeah.
you set a bitch up for failure?
Fool me once,
Yeah.
as they say.
And I'm like, I ultimately do want to be with someone who wants to be with me. Like, I don't want to be with someone who I have to like,
Right.
You know.
Coerce.
yeah,
How's it-
mind trick.
How's it going out there in the streets? Lynch and I are both sort of taken men. We don't always have sort of we don't have our own tales, but we're always curious in other people's tales and dating in the big city. How's it going?
It's so bad. I don't know if it's because I'm and all the good
Are
ones.
you
are
really
taken.
gonna
We'll bleep it. We'll
Bleep
bleep
it.
it if
Bleep
you want.
it. Bleep it.
What sound effect do you want?
Bleep it and
over-
do the big
over
G
the
flute,
age?
bro. The big G flute.
The flute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the
Yep, as you were.
You know, I'm at a certain age where I feel like all the good men are taken and I'm left with guys who do selfies in their car. And having a car in New York is somehow a red flag for me. I don't know why. But a guy who has a car in New York, I'm like, there's something off about this guy. Do you have a car?
No.
not anymore.
No, as soon as I moved here, I got rid of my car.
That is funny. Okay, so yeah, it's either especially if you're not like a rich guy and you have a car, it's the guy who's always like trying to switch the street sweeping spots because he parked on the street. Like, that's a
Yes.
red flag, dude.
Also, I boosted my Hinge 4 times on Sunday. That's $40. $40.
What does
I
that
boosted my
mean?
Hinge. It's you boost it so your profile gets sent out to more people. 0 matches.
Okay, talk to us about your social life beyond this, because maybe I feel like you could potentially meet somebody in the flesh.
I'm trying.
So what are you doing?
Well, I haven't been trying that hard, but
Because you've been I know you're busy. I know you're hustling. You're trying to get work stuff going. I'm sure you're using a lot of your energy. I mean, you can tell me. These are all my suspicions
it's
based
so
on us
true.
talking.
I just feel like I haven't had a job in a while, so it's a little hard for me to expect a lot from a man when I have not a lot going on. My therapist says that's a limiting belief.
Oh, big
but-
time. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I also think guys don't care about women's careers, so I think it's fine. But
I think a guy can theoretically be interested and care about your career, but at the same time, not care about the specifics of what you're doing at this moment. And it's very clear that you're sort of a promising talent.
oh, wow, thank you.
And you have things to show for it. So even though you may not have much going on at this exact moment, that doesn't mean that you don't have a paper trail of impressive success behind you, which I think completely nullifies any sort of problem with your exact current state. People understand the nature of our business
Yeah,
to some degree.
I had a friend be like, I have a lot of self-worth to give away, so I'm dating a lot because like I can like get rejected and it doesn't bother me. And I feel like recently, because I've been getting rejected by a lot of jobs, I like don't have a lot of that to give, you know, because I'm like, ugh, I'm getting rejected by like fucking hymns to do copy.
You
right?
got the job. They just changed the
Yeah, but like, or that's a different job. But like, I'm just saying, like, I'm getting rejected by all these jobs, and then I'm gonna go get rejected by a bitch named Derek. You know what I mean? So it's been, but I'm trying to put myself out there more because I am getting older, and I'm like, I just gotta find.
Lynch, step in here, pal. Let's give some good words to our friend Hanna here.
I don't know what to say.
He agrees. He agrees.
No, okay, it's all right. Good. If you,
I just said I don't know what to say.
Sorry. When you said I don't know what to say, I wasn't sure if you had then thought of something to say.
No, you go first.
Okay. Well, all right. Basically, you know, there's no, and I'm sure everybody listening will agree with this. Obviously, there's no relation to those two things. You probably also know that, but I get what you feel that way.
Yeah.
But you know, so this is what I would say to anybody who's having this, who feels that like dating pressure. If there's any way to sort of put yourself in a position to succeed without having that be the thought constantly, you'd be surprised at what kind of output you might be able to muster. Because as long as you have enough energy to be out and be social and go do things, you have friends, you know people, blah, blah, blah. If you're not hanging around the comedy club every night and you make a point to kind of go out and hang out with different groups of people occasionally, you're going to meet people. You're going to meet guys.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, are there other obstacles beyond that? Like, do any guys you meet have a problem with, like, how open you are with your stand-up? Like, has that ever been a thing that anybody had a problem with?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And do they usually admit it, or do they try to act like that's not it?
They try to act like it's not that. They try to act like it's just my personality, but I'm like, I know.
Maybe you need an older guy.
I think I do. I think I need an older guy.
Is 45 like too old for you?
No.
No, and that's like in 45, you're a fucking child in New York City as a man.
Yeah, I think so. But my thing is like, why are you single at 45?
Well, what if, I mean, okay.
We talked about this last time you were here.
Yeah.
It's a little sketchy and suspicious.
Why are you single at 55? I think is like universally true maybe here, but 45, you can have a really rich 25-year experience in New York City as a single guy.
Quarter of a century as a bachelor in New York? I think that's a really long time.
It's a long time, but like, what if you're traveling every week for work? You work for Goldman, you're on a plane every week, and you're killing it, and you're making money, and you're having fun, and like you're working a ton, and eventually you want to settle down, but like, you don't need to yet. And maybe you had a thing that was long and it didn't work out. And then maybe you got engaged and maybe you both realized that you wanted different things in life and you wanted kids, but you didn't. Like, there's so many ways. So like, you can't pre-screen all the candidates.
Julia's a fuckboy apologist.
That's hilarious. No, but you can't pre-screen the fuckboys. And a lot of the time, you know, the fuckboys have similar characteristics to our charismatic friend over here.
That's true.
And look, they play their options that they have because they're able to with the charm that they were given and the good angles and all that stuff. So like an older guy, I think, would be much more open to sort of tolerating any of these things that these younger guys are too insecure for, especially when it comes to content stuff.
100%. My goal is to meet someone without an Instagram. That's ideal.
Wow. Interesting. Why? Do Instagrams just like ick you out?
For guys, kind of. Like, it's one thing if you're promoting like a business or like you're a comedian or you're whatever, you're doing something. But like when a guy has an Instagram and he's like, went to golf today, it's like, who's this for?
It's for the boys.
It's for the boys.
It's for the boys.
Yeah, I guess so. And I dated a guy who was like, what am I going to do? He did have an Instagram, which I thought was so hot. He's like, what am I going to do? Just look at butts on Instagram all day? And I was like, That's
pretty good.
pretty good.
What did he do?
He worked at a bank.
Nice.
Yeah. He's married and has a kid. One that got away.
Was he already away, or he has since had the kid?
Oh, he has since had the kid.
Got it.
Yeah.
Would you date people that come to shows, like audience members that have seen you perform, like chatting with them after the show in the bar?
That doesn't really happen for women.
Okay.
But I once did hook up with a guy who was so hot who came to a show, and it was like my hottest pull, and he was at a show, but he wanted to be a stand-up, and he tried it. And he was really bad.
Brutal.
But he was really hot. And I'm still like...
Yeah, you're stoked about it still. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. But he wanted to be a stand-up, which was like... Wanting to be a stand-up is fine, but like being bad at stand-up is... I guess it's fine, but we all have our days. But he talked about like fucking porn stars and stuff. And I was like,
And on stage.
yeah.
I wanted to set you up with one of my friends, but I think he's decided that he is going to
Move out of the country.
No, I was like, dude, I got somebody for you. I got a girl I want to set you up with. And then he sort of brought it to my attention that he and his wife, who were considering calling it quits, have maybe decided to rekindle. And therefore, he may not be alone during the moment where you guys might be able to meet each other, which will be when I'm getting married. And I then said, well, that's too bad because I got a nice hottie for you. But if you're gonna get back together, then don't worry about it. He goes, well, who is she? I'm like, well, wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, wow.
I know, because I want to influence him to sort of
Leave his wife.
well, if that's where he's gonna end up anyway, maybe. And look, I like her, and whatever issues they're having is their business. However, I would like to maybe set you guys up. I think you might be a good match.
Wow. Thank you. I know. I'm waiting for your wedding. That's.
I'm just sort of, it's funny. I'm like thinking in my head, like what single guys are going to be there. And like, I just look forward to this moment where like you walk in the door and you're so excited and you're looking around and there's just one single guy there and it's Danny. Standing by the bar, pretending to do blow. Oh, Hannah, hey, dude.
I know. I texted you. Like, should I just date Danny?
Yes, let's examine that. Should Hannah just marry Danny? Should she date and marry Danny?
You guys get along?
Let's unpack it.
We get along.
That's really important.
Yeah, and
right,
he's
that's
a
like a
really
third of the
positive
pie.
influence.
He's a very positive, good guy.
He might be too big of a drinker for me.
Interesting.
He loves to party.
He does. But is it because he's missing something? Like perhaps and this could make Danny much more fun too, the idea that you could try to change him, which I think you actually could with Danny.
You replace the alcohol with kisses and cuddles.
Kisses and cuddling after the lip injections have died down a bit so that the kisses can land smoothly and
How
softly.
old is Danny?
49.
49.
But 49 years young. The guy looks
40, yeah.
he's in the top 1% of 49-year-olds.
100%.
He has great skin.
He looks phenomenal. Great
He
skin.
has good skin.
I w-
That's 20% of it. Good skin.
Good job.
Good job. Very nice. Thoughtful.
But it seems like, maybe it's because you've just known him too long, but you don't seem excited about this.
You're being so nice though. She's being so nice though.
That's how you know it's
You don't
not.
seem
Oh, he's a
genuinely
great
excited about
guy.
this.
No, I just feel like when you know, don't you think when you know, you know?
Yes.
Don't you think? My parents, when they met, and this is, I think, what has fucked me up so much, is my parents, when they said they met, they knew that they were like,
Oh, come on.
yeah, which I don't know if I believe, but I do believe my college boyfriend, who I dated for a long time, when we met, there was like a spark between us that was like undeniable. Right. Kind of like me and this guy who I thought.
Yeah.
But which is what throws you off, because you're like, do they just have charisma? But and I think maybe not fully. My therapist was like, initial spark usually is a red flag.
What?
Yeah, because it could mean they're love bombing you. It could be charisma.
What if they're not? What if you just like each other?
I know.
I don't know. So that's an interesting point, because I do like recall times where the things that excited me about somebody ended up being the beginning of this like toxic path that I was about to go down, where like I somehow thought I was pulling somebody out of my league and I started like losing myself trying to keep them around. And then the momentum kind of flipped. It was always like a person who would like come on to me, who I thought like, I'm like, they like me. Oh my God. And then it would just become this. I had really, really sad, bad back and forth things for like most of my 20s. And I'm not even totally sure how I broke that cycle, but there was definitely like an excitement with my current relationship that was somehow able to like not turn into that. Maybe it's a testament to her personality. Also, like on paper, like, sorry, Hill Dog, if this is like she sort of like checked all of the right boxes for me to pursue her in the right way that got me hooked, if that makes sense.
Why would you apologize for that?
Well, I'm just like revealing things.
Oh.
So like, for example, there's like a couple photos of her that exist where I sort of met her one time, and then my friend who knew her and knew the people who she knew would send me pictures of her and be like, oh, like trying to like influence me to like, I think she had a boyfriend, but there's like a couple pictures where just the way she looked, I was like, oh wow, this is like my type. This is what I'm in my 30s now. Like I'm a man, like I've messed around. Like I know what I like now. This is what I think I like. Everything else aside, knew nothing about her. And then from there, when I started pursuing her, she didn't like fall for any of my tricks. And like I was like love bombing her, but now we're engaged.
What were you doing?
I was just doing love bombing wasn't even a term yet. So like I wouldn't have even known that I was doing something wrong. I thought I was just like being smooth, but I was just like, I was just coming in hot. Like, I don't know, doing all the things that they say you're not supposed to do in that capacity if you're not serious about the person. And like she rejected it. She sort of just like didn't allow it to penetrate for long enough until I was like actually in love with her. And when you're doing these things, you mean them. Like I think I mean the thing I'm saying to her. If I'm like, oh my God, like I'm obsessed with you. Oh my God, like, haha, are we gonna have kids? Like, haha, like early on. You know what I mean? I know I feel bad about that being my approach now, but it worked out.
Did you do that with any other girl?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like potentially, yeah. And like typically it would turn into the classic scenario. But other times like the girl just like got sick of me too. That happened also. But like there were times where I was like
all in.
Thought I was all in. Then they like things turned in my favor quickly and then it sort of like got boring.
Oof.
Which is fucked up.
It's tough.
But, and I know that this terminology now exists, which is helpful potentially because I would never want to do a thing that's a bad thing, that everybody agrees is a bad thing. But to me, this is just, oh, I thought I liked her, now I don't. And that's not a crime. We both have to decide to like each other. That's the whole point of this. You know what I mean? This isn't charity. This is like a relationship. Like we need to like each other. So anyway, she sort of like held off my advances for long enough until I had the entire army invested in the challenge.
But I think what she did was smart, which is what my therapist is trying to train me to do. Because she's like, someone might think they're in love with you, but they don't really know you. So wait till they really know you and then they make that decision, because that's what happened. You got to really know her and you were like, oh shit, I'm really in love with her. Mm-hmm. And that's
rules. Yeah.
That's why my therapist says wait 10 days to sleep with a guy.
Yeah, I think it's good advice. And I know that like there's something to, and look, like I think that I know plenty of people where they like slept together right away and they rode off into the sunset.
I know.
But the sort of, in practice, it does make sense because there is something about building that excitement and letting it draw out for a period of time. Like you said, you get to know each other and it sort of like builds. It's the equivalent of ruining the movie at the beginning of the movie. You don't want to watch the whole movie. But when you are building and building and building and building, and then it's amazing, now it's the best movie you've ever seen.
That's so true.
You know what I mean?
Or like the trailer's really sick and then the movie kind of sucks.
Yeah, right. Totally. Exactly. So I think there's value to that. And people ask us about that kind of stuff sometimes. And I know that there's this whole like do whatever you want thing, but I do understand why the dynamics of it can sort of work against you if you decide to just like give it up.
And for me, I waited, I don't know if I should even say this, but I waited with this one guy and he was so chill about waiting. He was so nice. And then he was impotent.
Wow.
Pretend I don't know what that word means.
He
tell me what that word means.
Couldn't get an erection.
Okay.
He couldn't perform.
Impotent.
So wait, like sober, just couldn't at all ever?
No.
And was he like, I literally can't get a hard on ever?
He was like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't, yeah.
Damn. And was it, and that was kind of, you never talked more about it? Were you ever like, well, go fix it and then we can?
It was so awkward for me because I was just like, I don't know if it's me, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And I was just like.
So I'll tell you this, it's never an individual. Like there's a broader thing happening. especially if it's the first time.
Well, it happened like 6 times.
So yeah, so you never successfully were able to do anything but a sort of a cram job. Let me see if I can just stay right there and don't move at all, and then maybe I'll be able to. If I can just shut up. Oh my god.
Was he like? Did he look upset, or was he like, no, this has always been how it be? Or did that never get discussed?
Is he older? Tell us more.
He wasn't older. He was 34.
And it's always been a thing he's sort of struggled with or has started to?
He was just like, I'm sorry, like it takes a lot of mental for me to get there.
Okay, so not you.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was me, but it was just I didn't want to be like, can you go take a pill?
Yeah, right. Like, why not? Let's just, yeah, fuck.
Because then it's like kind of like, I felt like it's like telling a woman, like, can you go get a NuvaRing? Like, I just felt like to tell a man, like, can you go?
Yeah.
But the point being, it felt very like a Charlotte in Sex and the City. I don't know if you guys watch Sex and the City, but Charlotte, she waited to have sex with a guy till he married her, and then it didn't work.
Oh my
and
God.
it would like felt very similar where I was like, wow, this is like going so well. Like, he's so nice, and he's so like, he keeps asking me out, and like we keep going on dates, and like he's okay with me waiting, and he's not pressuring me. And it's like, oh, because like I don't think he can.
And so, yeah, so interesting. So this is an interesting crossroads for you though, this moment. And this is obviously, we moved on from it, but to the point of what your shrink was saying, it's like, okay, here's this moment. You really like this guy. It's going really well. And now here you are, you're going to do it for the first time, and he can't even get it up. And it's sort of like rains on the fairy tale a little bit. And like that can be a deal breaker because you want it to be this fairy tale, like your parents. Oh, it was love at first sight, whatever. You don't know the specifics of the parent story. I'm sure they're leaving out any low points.
Sure.
But like in theory, if you're like this guy and you're like committed to it, like, and I get that it can make one insecure, but like theoretically, if you were in that position again, would you be open to like working with him to try to get him there?
Yeah, and I think with him, I didn't feel like a huge spark, or like I did enjoy him, and he was like very nice, and I have nothing negative to say about him, but I didn't feel this huge spark. So that was the other thing. I wasn't gonna be like forcing it, because I was like, I'm not gonna ask him to do something when I'm like not even sure this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was kind of like trying to date like my therapist said, and being like, okay, there's no spark here, but like it could grow, and then like I just won't sleep with him, and then when I did, it like never worked. So I was like, okay, well, I can't even like get attached that way, because you know, like girls get attached after having sex with a guy, and I'm like, I can't even fake my brain into thinking that I am in love with this guy, and so it just didn't work out. But I think actually dating him showed me that like you can date really nice guys. I'm like, I think it really did. It was a nice experience.
I think that the term nice guy gets, there's just so much that could potentially go into that. And I think we should define it briefly about the good nice guy versus the unattractive nice guy. There's a way to be like a nice guy who also is able to make decisions and who is like confident about what they're confident about and know stuff, who's a nice guy and who listens and who's like, but there's also a nice guy who's a little bitch, and that's like not cute. He's like sheepish and look, I mean, if there's people out there who fit this profile, I'm sorry, and I hope your dating life is going well. But in the sense of like a nice guy not being the ideal guy, this is where I can see that being the case, where it's a guy who just like isn't a man.
I think he was like, I think he was like, he was confident. He knew who he was. Like, I actually think it just wasn't a match, but he had qualities of someone that I'm like, he had qualities of a nice guy that I would enjoy. Cause I'm like, it showed me that there are nice guys out there. Cause I feel like dating in New York, I'm like, is there a fucking nice guy in this world? Right. But then I'm like, you just have to look a little harder and look in places that, you can't go after the exciting. I think the exciting, shiny thing is where it gets. You
can maybe get in trouble.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And there's and even when a guy checks every box, sometimes he might not have that je ne sais quoi that's important to sort of like get him over the.
Well, it's like that with girls too, right? I mean, you guys.
Yeah, I think so. Now look, so this is the funny thing about dating chicks, dude. Fucking, but seriously, like there is like guys will be like, oh man, all I would have to do is sleep with Pamela Anderson or whatever, like stereotypical hot chick from whatever era, and I could die happy. But I think what that guy doesn't realize is once he had sex with her once, he'd want to keep having sex with her, and then he'd want to be in a relationship with her. And then she'd be so out of his league that it would just never make sense. And they'd be on this sort of runaway train toward heartbreak and disaster. And this guy will have peaked at that moment, and there will be no way for him to ever be living, and he'll just be sad for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? I think that is a thing that people forget. So like you want to be able to pull somebody who you think's a great candidate, but then you want to be able to like be with them too. And that requires being realistic. So, you know, there is a way where you can punch above your weight, but then it's hard to keep punching above your weight. You might win one fight, get a lucky punch in, but that guy's going to beat you 9 out of 10 times still. You know what I mean? So if you want to play in the big leagues, you have to belong there. So whatever that means. So when it comes to dating women, you know what I mean? You want to feel like you're pulling at like the top of what you're capable of, but you have to be careful about going above that.
Do you think guys get nervous if the girl is too out of their league?
No, because they just don't typically, they're not able to even execute that. For me, I was a guy who didn't get laid in high school.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
And and then like, you know, fast forward 10 years later, I'm not going to be saying like I was getting laid all the time, but like I was having much more success dating as in like at age 27 or 30 than I was when I was 16 or 17, obviously. But even in college, like it was sort of like a slow build. First girlfriend was just way out of my fucking league. I was so upset. I couldn't believe I pulled this chick and I was like obsessed with her or whatever. Ends up not working out. And then I kind of like, whatever. So the sort of level of person that I might have been capable of getting sort of got hotter and hotter as time went on, to be honest, to the point where eventually
It's like a drug. Like you were building up your tolerance.
Right. But I sort of had this like imposter syndrome at some point where like I couldn't believe that so-and-so liked me. And that was the thing that I was looking for, which would just sort of like end up not working out because I didn't think I deserved to be there to begin with, if that makes sense. So it just immediately created this imbalance in the relationship where all I was concerned about was doing the right thing to keep them interested in me as opposed to just being myself and not realizing that that's all I really needed to do. They have all these sort of like metaphors about this, about how like love is like a building, and if the columns are too close together, the building will collapse. But if they have a proper space apart, then the building will stand or whatever. That's where my brain goes when I think about this.
Interesting. I've never heard that. I feel like for me, it's not how hot they are. It's like how hot and cold they are to me. Like it doesn't matter what they look like. Like I've been played by some serious trolls. Like I was so confident going in, and then they like played me like a fiddle, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" But I became obsessed, and I became locked into this chase. But I feel like this year I've really like I'm so tired from chasing all through my 20s that like the race is over for me. Like I'm so over. It's so hard to keep chasing when you've been chasing. Like that's why I haven't really dated. Like I haven't been on a date in 6 months because I'm like I can't. I don't want to fall for it again. Like I'm scared of falling for the
right. No, I totally. I'll say this too. Like there is something about being like just growing into adulthood and feeling more confident in the idea of being able to function on my own, whether it be professionally, whatever. Like it was harder to make something work back then because I just didn't have a leg to stand on. So it was like all I had to give somebody was the first 3 weeks of knowing me. And then once we got past that, you'd see, oh, this guy like doesn't even have his own apartment. He lives with other people. They just let him live there. That's weird. Does he even make money? Like, I couldn't like support the person who I was able to attract initially. I didn't have anything to back it up. So now, I think that maybe I literally started to do well around the time when I met Hill Dog. Like, I think I had a 6-month runway where I was like still living that same figure it out lifestyle, and then like got a couple lucky breaks and then was able to like grow into this relationship because I had that foundation.
It's called fate.
which helped. Yeah, I guess maybe that too. But I think that definitely contributed. But it's an interesting point you make about like the flipping the script on you and shit.
It gets me so hooked. It's like it's like a thriller, you know.
Do you have other things you like to do besides stand up when you're not doing work?
I like to play pickleball. I think I'm gonna start in a pickleball league.
Okay, that's a great place.
That's great.
Yeah, I joined. I took a drawing class at the Met.
Cool.
But then my friend was like, "You thought you were gonna meet guys at a Tuesday drawing class at the Met?"
That's funny.
I like gay man activities. Like I went and saw O'Mary last night. Like every guy there was like flaming, and I was just sitting there alone. Like, oh, maybe I'll meet someone. And then I'm like, like this is the gayest play of all time. Yeah.
Pickleball's a great place.
I like what he's getting at though. I like this for you. The idea of you have sort of banter and back and forth before the first date even happens, as opposed to a let's go on a date and learn about each other on the date. It's fun to sort of let things sort of like percolate.
Did you see it was HBO. It was a limited series with Jesse Plemons, Love and Death.
With Emma.
No, it was with Elizabeth Olsen, and Jesse Plemons.
Yes.
Remember the sexual tension in that scene when they're playing volleyball with each other?
That's true.
The co-ed or the church league volleyball. Did you see that show, Giulio?
No, I gotta watch it.
Just husband and wife. They're both in this volleyball league with their church, and like there was a sexual moment when one woman falls down and another person's husband picks her up, and they like do like slow motion and sound effects when they make like sweaty skin contact. And like pickleball, you fall, the guy of your dreams picks you up, and then we all know what happens after that. Hopefully not the murder part, but like you definitely could. That's hot, and it's natural.
That's true.
Guys trying to help chicks meet guys. That's what's happening on this episode.
I once
love it.
joined a intramural soccer team, and they sent us the roster. So I looked up every guy on the roster, and he was married. Every single guy was
Every
married.
single guy.
So I never went.
That's so fair.
I was like, I'm not gonna go run around with these
Fuck
people.
that.
I'm not even good at soccer. I was like, what do hot guys play? I was like, soccer. And anyway.
More single guys on the kickball team.
Okay.
Okay, what about like, so you made a good point about you progress in life and suddenly your friends start to either be in relationships, move out of the city, they have kids, the dynamic of the way that they socialize can change. And then suddenly you notice that your sort of collective social life is not as dense. So like you're not going to groups with 15 of the same people. You're not having these big social events, but there are certainly friends that are more social than others. Like, is there some world where you have a group of friends that are like doing stuff, but you don't end up hanging out with them just because you don't, but like maybe that would open some portals, some new people you've never met? Or do you feel like you've exhausted all of the mutual connections you have when it comes to that? If you even care about this.
I just think my friends who are in relationships and I'll like be talking to their guy, I'm like, they're like, none that you would want to date. Like all they're like, any guy I know who's single is single for a reason.
Interesting. See, I hate that. We all have some like, there's a chance that one of those guys is fine, but like they've known him for a decade. So they've seen him blaze a trail and have years where he was doing blow too much and years where he was doing this too much, but maybe now he's ready to be a fucking.
I agree. I mean, look, I have a past, you know. we all have rocky years, bumpy years.
I actually think I have somebody you might like. I'm not going to bring it up on the show because I actually want you to try to give this a shot and maybe we'll see. But he's checking all the boxes and it's possible that it could be a home run for you. So
wow. I'm
going to try to finesse that. But you know, and if it inevitably doesn't end up working out, I'm fucking around. But you know, this is just a topic we like to talk about. I hope that you guys don't think this is coming off as like us trying to mansplain to Hanna what her social life should be. It's just all for the sake of discussion.
I love a man's opinion on stuff.
And Hanna has expressed this to me that she is interested in having a boyfriend.
I think it's just because I'm sober and like when I was drinking, like if I was still drinking, there would be no room to have a boyfriend. if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Like when I was drinking, I did not care to have a boyfriend. It would not be on my radar at all. I just wanted to go out and have fun. Dates were like drinking buddies. And now that I'm sober, I'm like, I just want someone to help me take care of my dog.
Yeah, that's an interesting component to it too. It's like probably slightly more challenging to be like uber social being sober.
It is to like when people start repeating their stories, you know, it is till like 11:30. It isn't until 11:30.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God, till they start repeating their stories. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I'm like, I've heard this one. I gotta go.
That's really funny. All right. Well, Hanna part 2, a success. Happy to have it in the books. Tell us what you got coming up, where we can follow you and all that shit.
Follow me at Hansdickie at HANSDICKIE. You know, what's coming up to be determined.
TBD. Love it.
TBD.
Hot summer coming to an end. Hanna D getting out in these streets at some point soon. Follow the gram for all the updates. Lynch, what's going on with you, pal?
Check us out at oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Me at Ryan is really polite on all platforms, and I'll be posting some stuff very soon.
Guys, this weekend I am at Hilarities in Cleveland. 4 shows, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. I'm super stoked about that. You can get tickets on my website, nowjulio.com. Going to hit a bunch of the local national parks because I've never been to Cleveland before, so I'm looking forward to having a big weekend. Then I'm going to be in St. Pete, Florida, my home away from home, 20th and 21st at Coastal Creative, the 13th at the Funny Bone in Columbus, and then the 26th of October, I'm going to be in Seattle, hereafter at the Crocodile. I'm planning to hit Olympic National Park hard after, if you have any recommendations. And Brent is coming with me.
Wow.
So if you feel like meeting Brent in the flesh, come to that show. He's going to be like, standard.
Hopefully Aaron Rodgers doesn't tear his ACL again.
And that's it. Thanks.